Diamond View is here. Join the Will County Black Diamond chapter of Top Ladies of Distinction for the Diamond View, a 5-part talk show series hosted by Dim Black Diamonds, featuring special guests and professionals discussing topics like mental health, it's okay not to be okay, employment, we'll get you back in the game and discover, do people really want to hire you? And entrepreneurship, tips on starting your dream business or how to keep your existing business relevant during the pandemic by pivoting. Check out the Diamond View. Join us on Facebook Live or YouTube. The Diamond View starts now. On tonight's episode, The Pandemic Pivot, how to reimagine your business during a pandemic, we'll discuss how to make your business thrive during this time with special guests, Professor Rashid Carter of Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program Chicago, business founder and CEO Karen Dilligard, business owner Randall Hunt, and entrepreneur and author Allison Perkins Caldwell. And now, with Diamond Topics are our hosts, Lady Brandy Whitfield Lewis, Lady Tracy Walker Hines, and Lady Moretta Smith. Good evening, everyone. How are you this evening? Welcome to the Diamond View. My name is Lady Moretta Smith, and tonight I'm here with my co-hosts, Lady Brandy Whitfield Lewis and Lady Tracy Walker Hines. And on behalf of the Will County Black Diamond chapter of Top Ladies of Distinction Incorporated, where our president is Lady Verlena Lane, we want to welcome you to the Diamond View. Top Ladies of Distinction is a humanitarian organization, and our motto is serving youth and young adults.
In this series, we've talked about mental health, love, employment during the pandemic. I know a lot of people with businesses, including myself, and tonight we're going to talk about the effect of the pandemic has had on businesses, especially small businesses. We have some amazing guests lined up for this episode, and we hope you continue to meet us on Facebook Live or YouTube each month for the Diamond View.
On a programming note, ladies, because of Memorial Day, next month, we're going to air on May 24th, not May 31st. So mark your calendars now. You don't want to miss it. As always, after each show, we want to hear from our viewers. Please make sure you're taking our survey at the end of the episode. The link is going to be pinned in the chat. It's going to be on the post. It's going to be posted in our chat. Make sure you take the survey and leave your email address. One of our lucky viewers is going to be a winner tonight.
Yes, that's right. Last month, we actually raffled off a free consulting session with Dr. Keela Bradford. So congratulations to our winner, Norel Lane, on that free consulting session. Yay, yay. And tonight we're offering a free business consultation with our business professor. He has generously offered a free business consultation to a lucky winner. So please make sure that you take the survey and leave your email address. We want to thank you, our audience, for your support on the Diamond View. For those of you who are new to our show, the Diamond View is the brainchild of the Status of Women Thrust, which is co-chaired by me and Lady Tashar Brock, and our Health and Wellness Committee, co-chaired by Lady Karen Dilligard and Lady Beverly Nunn. So right now, we're actually going to move into our Diamond topic. Did everyone watch the Oscars last night?
Yes, I did. I loved it. Ladies, what did you think of the fashion?
Oh my God, can we just say gold was the color of the night?
Yes.
Yes.
Regina in that Louis Vuitton dress was so elegant.
It was beautiful. She looked like she was a butterfly, but it still wasn't too much. It was perfect. And did you see her strut into the show?
Yes, honey.
That was black girl magic. And let's add in Angela. And that red, oh my
goodness. Angela's like everybody's auntie. That red was it just overtook the camera every time she was on the camera. I was like, look at Auntie go. Okay. And she was giving all of this, all of these, the chest, the pecs, all of it. I'm like, go ahead in the gym every day, Auntie. Yes.
The makeup was flawless. The hair was perfect. And did you see her purse? Anybody catch that?
I didn't.
Red lips, little red lips, just perfect to match her pout.
Working on our pout now. Okay.
You know what? I will have to say I was not a big fan of Hallie's hairdo. I know that she got teased mercifully on Good Morning America and some of the outtakes. I was like, come on, Hallie, it's the Oscars. You could have did a little bit better than that.
Lady Brandy, it was the hair and the makeup. The dress was beautiful. It was a beautiful color. It was elegant, but from here on up, no.
Someone texted me a picture of Jim Carrey and said that she looked like the picture of him when he got his haircut in the bowl cut. And I was like, that is really on point because that's exactly what I thought of right then and there.
Yes, absolutely. She was.
Normally I'm feeling Hallie, but I wasn't feeling that hairstyle last night.
Now, I really would like to say that I was pleased to see a Black stylist win for costume and hair design and makeup. And that was the first on the Oscar, so I was glad to see that.
She's from Gary, Indiana. She's a local. And she has relatives here in Chicago who I happen to know. I saw on Facebook today. So shout out to those Dolphins. Yay. And her dress, though, did you see her dress?
It was elegant, simple and elegant, just beautiful. It really was.
Now, my favorite couple, ladies, Viola Davis and her husband. They looked so good together. That white, just elegant and classic.
The cutouts were everything. Absolutely everything. Like it just made her skin pop. It was flawless on her. And I loved her fashionable mohawk. She looked gorgeous.
Simple and crisp as always. I was very pleased with her look. And then I also was just very pleased with the overall format of the show, with the social distancing, with it being a show that we expect to see that level of elegance. I was pleased.
Yes, I do wish they would have put some stairs on that one side because I was afraid that somebody was going to trip up because they kept trying to hop up in the middle of the stage instead of using the stairs that were there. And it's like, take the 3 extra steps, please, because we don't want to see it on live TV. We don't.
Yeah, that would not have been good. But one thing I did love, ladies, the men. The men were so well dressed. The black on black, just elegant. You even saw a more casual take on formal wear, which I liked. It was very, very nice to see all these well-dressed men after being starved for a year of award shows.
And there was one guy, I can't think of his name right now, who also had on gold. He had a whole gold lame outfit. I saw it in the outtakes on the red carpet. And maybe we can look at his image a little bit later. The brothers were fine. They were put well together.
Absolutely.
No argument here.
No disappointment.
All right, ladies, you know what? One thing I also saw last week, I don't know if you guys saw that, this too, but I saw that the government last week released the names of people who had received PPP loans. And so then this week, what I saw was people putting up GoFundMe pages so they can pay back these loans that they know they didn't qualify for in the first place. Did y'all see that? Folks were scrambling.
Yes, Lady Moretta, I saw that. I really felt bad because, people were desperate during the pandemic, and they did what they had to do. And now it's coming back to bite them in the backside.
Well, you know what? The teacher and me, of course, pulled out a million stats. And I was wondering what would make somebody go and apply for those loans. Like my husband and I did get those loans, and it was a very rigorous process. But according to NPR in July of 2020, the SBA only originally released the names of borrowers who received $150,000 or more. That list came out. I clutched my pearls because I was like, my name better not be on there twice. It better not be on there twice. And so, and I saw a whole lot of people, of course, the Snapchats and the Instagrams were popping. But baby, when that list came out, a lot of people were embarrassed because they're going to get found out.
Yeah, it's been hard for a lot of businesses during this time, ladies. I really feel bad for them. Think about your favorite restaurants. They probably closed at some point, tried to do carry-outs and even delivery. And then the prices of food went up, prices of gas went up. So they had to raise their prices. And then COVID went down, the numbers went down. They tried to reopen, but then the numbers went back up because we got out of control. We didn't know how to do it safely. And so then they had to close their dine-ins again, or the numbers were too small for capacity, and it just didn't make sense to stay open. That's too much pressure for business. It really takes money to make money.
That's true. And one of the things about tonight, we know a lot of people who are business owners, and tonight is not only about how we can help them, but also as customers, if we don't have a business, what can we do to support our favorite businesses? So we've been living in this pandemic world for over a year now, and a lot of businesses have pivoted, that's our keyword for the night, pivot, to this new normal. So depending on your industry, that may be based on the CDC guidelines, that may be based on the price of produce. We don't know. But tonight, we are going to talk about not just surviving, but how businesses can thrive and continue to thrive during this pandemic. And actually, one of our guests tonight, he's thriving. He got a call for a booking tonight. So he is actually going to be joining us from his actual work location while he's out there doing his work and pivoting. So bear with us, and we're going to make it do what it do tonight.
And Lady Moretta, I am so excited as a business owner to get this information, right? Like, I'm fortunate that I still have 9 to 5 to fall back on. I couldn't imagine having to figure out how to do this pivot in the middle of a pandemic without the resources of having another income to fall back on.
And ladies, don't forget, we have a professional tonight who's going to be offering business advice about how they should continue to pivot during this time. This is really going to be a good show. I am so excited.
I am too. So let's actually jump in with our first guest. Our first guest is Mr. Rashid Carter. And Rashid is a tenured professor of economics and business at Harold Washington College. He is also serves as lead faculty with Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses and Chicago programs. He just was elected to his 3rd term as treasurer of Cook County College Teachers Union. And as a native Chicagoan, he graduated from University of Illinois at Champaign, where he studied business economics. He later pursued his doctoral degree in economics at Washington University in St. Louis, where he was awarded the Chancellor's Fellowship. He was also the past recipient of the NISOT Award for Teaching Excellence. He is passionate about advocating for the interests of local educators and has served in various leadership capacities across city colleges, including chair of the social science department at Olive Holly Carthage and lead researcher during the CCC Reinvention campaign. Rashid has previously been a weekly contributor on WVON 1690, radio's Dollars and Cents, and the Urban Business Roundtable programs, and was a recurring guest on and host on the weekly WYCC TV production, The Professors. So this is no mystery to you. Welcome, Rashid. How are you tonight?
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you for having me, and it's good to see you.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. So I want to actually jump right in. You're an economist. So give us some insight on what's going on in this new COVID world.
Yeah, so I mean, the current state of things is actually on the, I guess, on the optimistic side. What your show watchers, the folks who follow you, the folks who are here present this evening, I'm sure everyone already knows that we have an increased number of vaccinations happening, with more of our public, the American populace in particular, being inoculated from COVID-19. Of course, here in Chicago, the news is even better than it is throughout the entire nation, as most members of our city or citizens of our city have at least one dose of the vaccine. And so with more inoculations, with the easing of the restrictions that hampered businesses across the city and state, is of course an uptick in business activity. People are out. They're spending money. They're going to their old familiar haunts and places of business, and they're transacting. So activity is up on the customer side as people are trying to get to some semblance of normalcy. What that also means, of course, is for businesses, they're starting to see an uptick in demand for their services and products. And so that's an absolutely wonderful state of affairs, especially given where we were about a year ago during this time when everything was on lockdown. And as you talked about a little bit earlier, businesses were under a great duress. And so things are going much better now. And the even better news is that things are looking up as we move forward into the summer.
That's awesome. And so I know, guilty, I went out yesterday with some girlfriends. And so I've been trying to kind of ease back into it now that I have my vaccination, and we'll see what happens. But I did go out yesterday and support some local business. So that was fun, just to be amongst the people, but still social distancing and in a safe manner. A lot of people have heard of Goldman Sachs. It's one of the largest financial institutions, and they've really been focusing on diversity and have some great new initiatives. They've committed $10 billion in capital and $100 million in philanthropic funding for at least 1 million Black women in the U.S. who have been affected by the pandemic. So business owners, if you're out there and you're hearing this, make sure that you check out the Goldman Sachs website to see if you qualify and can get in on these new initiatives that they are working on. I know you've worked with the 10,000 Small Businesses program for some years now. I'm going to bring Lady Tracy and Lady Brandy back. And what I'd like you to do is tell us about your program and some of the feedback that you're actually hearing from the business owners that are going through your program.
Well, I appreciate you asking that question. I'm actually happy to report that just last week on Wednesday, we graduated our 28th cohort here in Chicago, which is a really wonderful and joyous occasion. 37 small business owners graduated from the program. And a scholar, to the last scholar, everyone reported feeling very good about their business prospects, their prospects for growth moving forward through the rest of 2021 and beyond. And so, again, if I use that as a sample, and given what I've heard from other businesses who've come through the program and folks who haven't, I mean, generally speaking, the mood is good about what the future looks like. In terms of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, we have over 10,000 graduates of the program across the entire United States of America. There are 14 educational sites. We have 10 other access to capital capital sites. We have 800 graduates from the program here in Chicago. And so we have a pretty robust number of what we now call alumni of the program, which is like this interconnected web of small business owners that really support each other throughout the country and throughout the world, because we also have business owners from Guam, the Virgin Islands, and beyond. I'll give you the short and skinny of the program. The program really revolves around three primary pillars. It's business education. And so you can think about it as over the course of 4 months, we put our business owners through a executive MBA program condensed into a 4-month window. So it's a pretty intense program. It requires a lot of time, over 100 hours meeting in class with professionals and experts in different areas pertaining to business growth. We bring them through that business education piece. That leads into the next pillar, which is business support services. And so while they're going through the program, learning about, again, all kinds of topics from marketing to finance to growth to human resources, they're getting wraparound business support services. They're actually assigned their own business advisor that guides them through the program and supports them at every step along the way. And then the last pillar of the program is access to capital. And so the thing we want for our scholars is to be able to build out a growth plan, right? A guide to their growth from the time they start the program into the indefinite future. And then, of course, we want them to be able to obtain the funding they'll need in order to make their growth plans come to fruition. And so, again, our businesses beat all the national averages for small businesses in terms of revenue gains, in terms of being able to employ people. And the thing that we really try to impart to our scholars is they have to run their business like a corporation, right? They have to be able to work on their business instead of in their business, so they can be more strategic and entrepreneurial in how they make decisions that, of course, define the performance of their businesses. And so to this point, and I'm just happy by the grace of God that it's going very well.
Wow, that's really interesting, Rashid. So with COVID being so uncertain and things constantly changing in terms of capacity and restaurants are pricing, it's really hard to plan. What do you think business owners should be doing for planning during this time?
That's an awesome question. And so I'd say a couple of things. Okay. The first thing that I would say is that business owners need to be thinking about what they've learned over the past year or so, right? And so the thing that businesses have experienced and are experiencing on the day-to-day basis is new opportunities that are coming their way, right? There's a lot of pent-up demand for all kinds of goods and services that people couldn't access because they were, of course, being careful about not being out in public and transacting as they normally could because of COVID. But people are out now. And so with this sudden burst of demand, businesses now are having to find which opportunities are best for them to grow their business, to earn additional revenue, and to, of course, keep their customers and, of course, take on new customers. So businesses are going to have a problem that is almost diametrically opposed to the one they had before, where they didn't have as many opportunities for transaction during COVID. Now they're going to have to find out how to grapple with an abundance of opportunity. And so when you go through vetting of opportunity, it entails a couple of different things. You have to, of course, figure out exactly if you're actually solving a customer pain point. You have to think through, of course, is the opportunity in alignment with your competitive advantage? You have to figure out if you're going to be tapping into a new market or selling a new product to the marketplace. Does the opportunity fit your business, and can it be profitable for you? So it's important because there's going to be a lot of different things that come your way. But as a business owner, you have to be very savvy about the process you use for identifying opportunity. You have to be very disciplined in terms of being able to look into the future and plan out your short-term and long-term future. To every dollar you spend, you have to project how much revenue you're going to earn, how opportunities will lead to success for you and your company. And then you also have to be very intentional about how you tap into the abundance of funding options that are available, but you want to do so. And you guys kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier. You want to do that with an eye towards return on investment. And so when you spend a dollar, you have to think about how that dollar is going to lead to more revenue and more growth potential for your company, right? Just accumulating resources just to do so is not wise. You have to think more intentionally about that. And again, the last thing I'll leave with is risk mitigation, right? What did you learn from COVID? If you had to go back to January of 2020, what would you have done differently in preparing for COVID, right? In preparing your business for COVID, what things would you have done differently? Would you be more flexible in terms of how you hire personnel? Would you have invested your money different? Would you have taken a different stance in terms of being able to serve a certain customer segment? What would that look like, right? Putting risk mitigation strategies in place are important, and learning the lessons of COVID are going to be absolutely essential for those businesses that continue to do well in this new normal we find ourselves in.
So for our audience, if you didn't get the clue, we want you to have your pen and your pad out right now taking notes, because this is that kind of show where the things that we're talking about tonight, if you have a business, you can be putting these things into practice tomorrow and moving forward. So get your pen and your pad out right now. Rashid, we want to talk, you talked about a little bit about making the plan. We want to talk about putting that plan in motion and actually doing the pivot. So what factors should business owners, especially small business owners, be considering as they are, looking to pivot, and how do customers actually play a role in that?
Another good question. So I think when businesses are pivoting, and this is reporting from Ground Zero with 10K SB scholars and business owners, is the thing that they're finding is that they have to look at value creation as the number one objective, right? And so how are you able to create economic value for your business? In other words, profitability. But then also, how are you able to create social value? So what opportunities are you to serve the mission of better servicing the public sphere that you're a part of, right? And given COVID-19, there's a lot of opportunities for that. And so some of our most successful businesses, when they've had to pivot, what they've had to keep an eye on is, and I talked about the idea of how to vet opportunity, right? And so the thing you want to have an idea for is, okay, is there an opportunity to help protect the public, to help serve a need that people have? Mask production, PPE production. Am I able to produce technology that might help people better locate testing sites or vaccine sites? What can I do in order to serve the public during their time of need? And can it potentially be profitable for me, right? As my other business is maybe suffering from the pandemic. And businesses that were able to do that and figure out how to navigate this new terrain have been successful, right? Businesses have to be able to forecast their revenue growth given this new open economy moving forward. And so I talked about that already, but you have to kind of think about and anticipate, okay, if I notice that my business has performed at a certain level over the past year, and if I know I have to make up some of that ground, and if I know that my customers are going to be economically vulnerable because we're still not out of the woods yet, then how do I price my products? Do I pare down my menu options or do I expand them? Right? How do you take into account the well-being of your customers when you're thinking about, of course, serving their needs, but also making certain you can serve your own? That's something you have to be able to think about when you're forecasting next month and 6 months and a year into the future, how much money your business needs to create or should be able to drive revenue with. You have to be able to consider all of those disparate parts. What also makes sense is you want to think about scenarios, right? You want to plan for what happens in the best case scenario where we get back to normal over the next year, and what happens in the worst case scenario where we go back to the extreme lockdown state we found ourselves in last April. You want to be able to think about all of those eventualities and then have a plan of action ready for all of them, right? That's absolutely essential. So again, making decisions about who to hire, what capital to invest in, what type of funding to take on should all come through that prism of these different states of reality that could very well come to pass over the next year. And the last thing I'll say on this is that one of the things that the most prudent businesses are doing now is they're learning their customers. Build a conversation, build a relationship with your customers, find out where they are, what they need. And as business customers, we should be doing that with businesses as well, right? We should be understanding, hey, how are you doing, business owner? This is the state of the world for me. What are you able to do to serve my needs? There should be this flow of information that's happening so that both sides of the equation, the customer and the business, can better understand exactly how to navigate the future state, given that, again, there's a lot of uncertainty that we're still grappling with. So communication, relationship building, and planning is absolutely essential today.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the strategic plan, because right now the hot topic is funding. And so as a small business owner, I'm a little scared. Like, should I take out those loans, even though they might not be due for 2 years? Am I going to be guaranteed the forgiveness? What should I do strategically as a very small business as a next step for funding?
Yeah, you know what? And I heard some of the conversation a little bit earlier, and kudos to all of you on a fantastic show. This is very timely. I'll say this a few different ways, okay? And I try to pack a lot of information into a condensed time period, but here we go. So the number one thing you need to do is every business owner needs to build relationships with funders, right? The funder you're currently dealing with, whether it's a bank or an equity person, you need to have an array of different funding types that you know and that you have a relationship with, right? Open up a checking account at a credit union. Make certain that you have a presence at the WBDC where you have a conversation with someone you've brought into your network there. Make certain that CIBC or Axion or one of the bigger banks like Chase, make certain you have these very expansive and disparate relationships in your network so that you can be gaining information. You don't have to necessarily be transacting with these people. You just want to build up a flow of information about the types of funding opportunities that are available to you, because every day is a new day in the world of funding nowadays, right? And the private part of the funding ecosystem is responding to the public side. In other words, because so much money is being put out by the federal government, literally trillions of dollars, then the private side is having to adapt the way that it goes about meeting the needs of its customers. And so you need to be into close contact and conversation with the people that you know in the private side of the funding system so that they can alert you to changes that are happening, and so that if you have to make an ask for funds, they know you, they're comfortable with you, they'll be a little bit more prone to go ahead and build a funding relationship with you. So that's the first thing. Second thing is understand that right now is a beautiful time to access funds. There's a lot of public funds, in other words, federal government, state government, municipal government funds available. There are grants, there are loan programs at relatively low interest rates. There's a lot of opportunity out there. Again, the thing you want to know is what those opportunities are. You want to keep a repository of information about the types of funding opportunities that are out there. You want to figure out the same thing with private funding sources. You want to build relationships with community development financing institutions. Those are basically the community lenders like Axion, right? They lend up to like $50,000, and they're more prone to want to take on risk in its borrowers, even if those borrowers are asking for just a little bit of money. That might be a better fit for you. You want to know what they're doing, what type of loan products they're making available to you. You just want to know about all the different array of opportunities that are out there so that you can figure out what you qualified for and what you don't. And qualification depends on a lot of different factors, right? Depends on, in some instances, your credit score. In some instances, your leverage, how much money you've already borrowed and owed to other people. Sometimes it just depends on character, right? So you have to know who these funding institutions are, what they're requiring of you in terms of making a case for borrowing. The same thing goes if you're talking about taking on a relationship with an equity investor. You have to know what they require and what they're looking for in that relationship as well. And it's really important to also understand, and you guys made this point earlier, and it can't be mentioned enough, you have to understand the terms of an agreement when it comes to taking on borrowed funds. A lot of people went and they gained access. It was as if they saw an advertisement for free money by the federal government when it came to PPP. And people were just applying and money was being dispensed, and people didn't think about the long-term ramification of making that decision, because that money is going to come due relatively quickly. And so again, you want to be very, very intentional about how you choose to take on funding, because loans are made with the promise that you pay it back. And so you want to know that, and you want to plan for it. So when you, like I said earlier, if you're going to take on a loan, you want to know how you're going to spend it so that it creates revenue for you, so that ultimately you can pay back the loan. And then you also want to know what time frame all that should happen in. Okay, so that's all very important. Again, what I would probably say, and I think this is also very important, is that you know the different types of funders out there. I mentioned CDFIs, community-based institutions, that are really appropriate for smaller businesses. You should also have relationships with commercial banks, the bigger ones, because a lot of them, like CIBC, for instance, have programs geared towards community-based institutions, small businesses. So you want to know about them. You want to build relationships with venture capitalists and angel investors. Again, you don't necessarily have to take on those funding opportunities, but you just want them to know that you exist, and you want to gather information from them. Other institutions are, the Social Venture Partners are a really good organization for taking on equity financing. I mentioned Axion, the WBDC. There's just a lot of different resources out there. So the first thing to do is educate yourself, do your research, and understand the funding terrain that's now present and available to you.
Rashid, you have given us some definite gems right here. So keeping those things in mind, we're actually going to get to know our business owners for tonight. And we know that they have been able to really pivot during this time. And so Rashid is actually going to be giving some free business advice tonight. So that is exciting. We're going to actually bring our first guest, Lady Karen Dilligard. Lady Karen Dilligard is a graduate of Illinois State University with a BS in Organizational Management. She has worked for almost 30 years in the customer service arena. Lady Karen left corporate America in August of 2019. I want you to think about that. August of 2019, right before the pandemic, to pursue her passion of event planning and decorating full-time, not knowing what was coming a few months later. She's also an independent wine consultant with Wine Shop at Home. Lady Karen is an active member of Salem Baptist Church of Chicago, the Chicago Central section of the National Council of Negro Women, the Chicago Metropolitan Chapter of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and she is the chapter organizer of the Will County Black Diamond Chapter of Top Ladies of Distinction. Lady Karen, welcome to the show. We have a lot I know that you want to share with us, especially having made a career change right before the pandemic. And I know that Lady Tracy has some questions for you, so I'm going to bring her back.
Thanks, Lady Moretta.
Thank you.
Good evening, Lady Karen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lady Tracy.
I am so excited to be interviewing you this evening. So I'm going to let you start by sharing with us a little bit about your businesses.
Sure. I have two right now. Probably a few more if I really think about it. But Exquisite Affairs Chicago is my event planning and design business that I've had for probably more than 25 years, but decided, as Lady Moretta said, in August of 2019 to walk away from corporate America and do it full time. So absolutely right before the pandemic. Yeah. And then the next one that I got into was being an independent wine consultant for Wine Shop at Home as well. So those are my two primary businesses right now.
Okay, thank you. So tell us, what was it like for you when the pandemic first happened last year? I mean, you had just relaunched Exquisite Affairs, your event planning company, with this fabulous weekend-long event. And then everything got canceled. Everything had to shut down. What did you end up doing?
Yeah, it was quite an eye-opener. So the relaunch was amazing. I had weddings, I had corporate events, I had anniversary parties, birthdays, everything booked, and all of a sudden everything was canceled. So what do you do at that point? Some people rescheduled, and I have weddings now going forward this year, but it was something to really pivot from. So I decided as time went on, initially everything was shut down, but then people started still wanting to celebrate their occasions, their family members, their friends. So we went outside. So a lot of what I did was drive-bys, outdoor celebrations. So we had a lot of those. And so it helped us to maintain. I incorporated, yard cards into the business. So that was decorating front yards for people for their drive-bys as they went by. And then there was wine. If nothing else, we were all sheltering in place. And what was happening is people were still drinking. So my wine business, really, it took just a temporary hiatus until the company as a whole figured out, hey, we were doing these in-person tastings. How do we do this now? And we went to virtual tastings. So it was amazing. And my wine business really flourished during this time.
So as a friend and a client, of course, I follow you on Facebook and Instagram and have seen what you do. You're decorating your lawns, your lawn signs. I especially love the birthday party that I saw you did this weekend.
Thank you.
So elegant, just beautiful, beautiful. I loved it. I've also really enjoyed the online wine events that you've been doing. I like to think I'm a good customer.
Yes, you are. Absolutely.
So those have really been a lot of fun. And I know for me, it was really hard during the pandemic, and that allowed me to connect with other people because we could not leave the house and we could not get together. So thank you for being able to pivot and to do that. We're going to be offering some free advice to our business owners tonight, and we're going to bring back Rashid. Lady Karen, do you have any questions for him?
I do. Hi, Rashid.
Hello, Lady Karen. How you doing?
I'm good. So one thing you did touch on, though, and I just wanted to be clear, the PPP loan. So are you saying those are good things to go ahead and pursue? Are there some pros or cons to those?
Yeah, first off, kudos to you and everything that you've been able to do as an innovative entrepreneur. Hats off. You are absolutely amazing. And when we talk about funding, one of the things that you alluded to was this notion of being innovative, right? What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention, right? And so with COVID, you had new necessities. People had needs, whether it be drinking, whether it be attempting to celebrate in a socially distanced way. And what you did was you delivered on that new need, right? And so how do you think about funding in that space? Well, whatever funds you have available to you, as I said earlier, the thing that's really important to do is to locate where funding sources are, like in the case of the PPP loan. But remember, the PPP loan is an interesting loan product, because essentially what it does is it attempts to cover those businesses that might be having a cash flow windfall that precludes them from being able to pay their employees, right? Or pay for other vital expenses that they need to be productive. And so it's perfectly fine to take a loan like that out, but it has to be targeted. In other words, you have to be able to understand, okay, if I take this money out and I'm able to use it as a bridge until I get myself back on my feet, then am I going to be able to generate revenue into the future based upon me being able to take advantage of future opportunities, right, to be able to pay back this loan? Okay, and the loan repayment time frame is what, upwards of about 6 months or so. So the PPP loan has to be paid back relatively quickly. And so it's really important that if you take those funds out, and again, I wholly agree with the thought that, yes, you should be able to and prepared to explore funding sources like the PPP opportunity, but you have to be careful that you're targeting each fund, each dollar that you take on for, again, the purpose of ROI or revenue creation. It seems like you've been able to do that. You have a very pristine business acumen. We need all business owners to be able to do that responsibly, because you don't want to be caught in a situation where you haven't been able to generate revenue, your business is still suffering, and you can't pay back the loan once it's due. Okay, so that's the one thing that you have to be scared of, or at least cognizant of when you get into that relationship. It's the same thing with the idle loan. It's a similar concept. Cheap money, it's okay to take it on, but remember, the money is not meant to help you grow your business. It's meant to stabilize you while you go through emergency stress. And so it's important that you build a plan of action for how you're going to use that money. Let it serve as a bridge so that you can find new opportunities to exploit, so that long term you're able to generate cash flow to pay back down the loan. Too many times we see that businesses and individuals who don't qualify for those loans taking that money out and have no plans for paying it back, right? We just don't want to fall into that particular situation.
Absolutely. Thank you. The other question I did have was just some tax advice for small businesses. Do you have any that you could give?
You know what? I'm going to be full disclosure here. I am not the tax expert, okay? But one of the things that I'm sure that you learned in your time as an entrepreneur is that you don't have to be an expert in all things to be a competent entrepreneurial leader, right? What you can do is you can delegate out responsibilities to responsible entities to give you the sort of advice and support you need. And so what I would say is, number one, do your due diligence about the type of tax, I guess the decisions around operating your business that has certain tax implications. For instance, one of the things that home-based businesses might want to understand is that if you can claim expenses, even if they're, road expenses that you accumulate during the daily course of your life, you can claim those as business expenses for tax relief. You can also do things like claim health insurance payments or contributions to your retirement plan. You can use that to defray some of the cost of the tax incident that you might be able, or that you might be required to pay at the end of the year. In other words, you can lower your income threshold so that your tax incidence is lower, right? There are things you can do, right? There's all kind of little tricks and nuances to the tax code that you can exploit and take advantage of. But the main thing is, number one, you should be doing that in consultation with your tax attorney or excuse me, your tax accountant or someone who's an expert that's going to be giving you advice on how to navigate that terrain. And so again, you want to be building up your capacity to make decisions on how to prepare your business for, paying again a smaller amount of taxes, which may or may not be a great thing, by the way, because ultimately at the end of the day, if you're paying more in taxes, what that also means is that your business is doing better. And so you want to be able to navigate the terrain of saying, okay, I'm trying to get off with as paying as the fewer taxes as possible, but also paying your tax obligation. This, at the same time, again, when you're working with your accountant, you want to make certain that they're positioning you for whatever it is that you want to secure as your long-term future. And so if you're defraying tax costs, right, then where is that money going?
Yeah.
Is it going into some type of wealth management plan that's going to allow you to exit your business and lead the life you want to live in 10 years? That's also something that should be a part of this process. And too many times folks are short-sighted and they just want to save money from a year-to-year perspective. But how are you taking those saved resources and redirecting them for your long-term benefit? Those are a couple of things that I would say to definitely keep in mind. So the upshot is make certain that you educate yourself on how to be better prepared to understand the tax code and position your business to be successful in the realm of, again, lowering your tax burden. But at the same time, talk to your networks, tap into those experts who can give you really good pointed advice on how you can be a better steward of your resources when it comes to tax payments.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
So thank you both for sharing. That was wonderful. Thank you. You have, Lady Karen, you're definitely on point. And I am so glad that you've been able to pivot during this pandemic. We are proud of you and glad for your success and much continued success in the future to you and your endeavors. So if you are out there watching and you're interested in Lady Karen's businesses, her event planning, and that wine business, don't forget that wine business, please check her out at Exquisite Affairs. And you can find her at www.exquisiteaffairschicago.com. The links to her social media pages are in the chat, so please check her out. Thanks again, Lady Karen. I've enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, Lady Tracy.
Thank you, Lady Karen, and congratulations to you on your ability to pivot during this time.
Thank you.
So our next guest tonight is Randall Hunt. And as I mentioned earlier, he actually received a booking this evening. So he is out in the field. And we are proud to welcome him. He is the owner of Cookies with Flavor. Cookies with Flavor is going on 18 years of business, starting from scratch and growing to where it is today. Cookies with Flavor is now a servicing food truck with clientele in Cook County and surrounding counties. Randall is in the planning stage also of establishing a brick and mortar location for Cookies with Flavor. So welcome to the show, Randall. Oh, I think you're on mute, Randall. All right. Welcome to the show, Randall. We're going to bring back Lady Brandy to chat with you about Cookies with Flavor.
Well, welcome, Randall. My mama always said, if a man wants to work, let him work. Kudos to you for working today. I really thank you. And as you can tell, I got my pandemic 15 and I love your cookies. But tell us about how your food truck business was prior to COVID. I think your mic is muted. Still can't hear you, Randall.
How about that?
That is
that better?
Yes, it is.
It's that whole mute thing. I'm sorry.
that's the phrase for the year. You're on mute.
Pre-pandemic, almost like a door-to-door. I had a steady set of clientele that I would see once a week. Lucrative, very decent, after pandemic, had to pivot a little bit, restructure our things on how we're doing, because the whole door-to-door visiting businesses, like we normally do, we weren't able to do. So now we're going a whole different direction, and it's a good thing.
I'm glad you said that was a good thing. So what was like the upside of this pivot? What did you learn about yourself as an entrepreneur? Like, if you had to give me like two quick things, what did you learn about yourself and what was the upside?
Diversity. able to do things in a different way in order to continue growth. Things that you may or may not have thought you were ready for at the time during the pandemic, you kind of thrown into it. So diversity and able to do things that you wouldn't normally have done at that time.
So I know that originally your clientele was like event based, like you said, door to door. Did you find some new clients? Like, how did you get that diversity?
Dealing with different brokers in my industry, social media, reaching out to people, reaching out to different areas, and trying to capitalize on potential funds that may be out there. It's just like right now, we're at a neighborhood event. It's pretty good.
Oh, and that's so awesome. I like, and it's exactly what Rashid said in regards to expanding your network. You use social media, you maintain those relationships that you have with other people. And you know what? We're going to bring Rashid back to talk about some questions that you already had. Hi, Rashid.
Hello. Long time no see.
How you doing? What's up?
Hey, now.
Well, go ahead, Randall, and share some questions that you have for Rashid.
Rashid, one of my main questions is about capital. Yeah. In this pandemic, what are some of the easiest ways for people to gain capital when looking to move forward, preferably like a brick and mortar?
Yeah, that's a really good question. How do you go about obtaining financing if you want to start a venture? If you need, especially startup capital to secure physical space and things like that. The main thing is you have to find those funding sources that are going to be amenable to your needs, right? And so the first line of defense, of course, is going to be a venture capitalist or angel investor. But even before that, it's really about you figuring out how much cash reserve you have, what sort of internal funding you can put forward to, of course, seed whatever sort of project or venture you're trying to tap into. So you want to take inventory for what resources you have for two purposes. Number one, you may just be able to fund yourself. But if you're not, what you want to do is you want to be able to take inventory of where you stand currently when it comes to funding, so that when you approach a funding outlet, you can tell them a narrative about who you are, what you've been as a demonstrated successful business leader, and then what sort of relationship they can get into with you that would be successful for both of you moving forward. And so from that perspective, there are all kinds of organizations like the WBDC, that's the Women's Business Development Center. I know you don't have to be a woman to be a part of it, but they'll be willing to give you support, give you wraparound services as they prepare to fund you if you're doing a startup or if you need funding for a particular capital resource. The federal government, all kind of public institutions through the SBA are making startup resources available. There's a few different programs out there where the SBA is actively looking to generate resources to start up businesses, especially during an environment where a lot of business owners who are innovators who might otherwise start a business are hesitant to, because there's so much uncertainty in the world around us, right? And so the public sphere is there, the government is there to provide seed funds. So I would definitely say look at the SBA. You actually absolutely want to look at organizations like SVP, that's Social Ventures Partners. They want to invest in organizations that are going to be transformational to the communities that they serve. And so again, building a dialogue with the organization like that is really important. You can go to SCORE. SCORE is an organization that supports small businesses. And of course, they have a partnership with the SBA. And so at the same time that they can provide outlets to funding, what they can also do is prepare you so that you have a more stable foundation when you look to, again, involve yourself with those relationships and be a more viable funding candidate. There's all kinds of opportunities out there. I haven't even talked about the potential for crowd source funding, which is also a really popular way for companies to get their hands on funding. If you tell a narrative about your business, about how successful you've been, about how you've been able to weather different economic storms, and that you serve a very vital purpose to your community, you'd be surprised at who'd want to give you money, right? But again, like I said earlier, it's really important that you develop a very firm and thorough ecosystem of funding support so that you have people out there being your representative, your ambassador for finding the best funding opportunities available. And there's a lot of them out there. So it's just about navigating the terrain. Another one that comes to mind real quick is the IFF, the Illinois Facilities Fund, and they literally give funds to businesses that want to invest in physical capital, like new plants, new buildings, capital equipment, and stuff like that, right? A lot of resources out there. So again, just start having a conversation. I'm more than willing to help you with that particular effort if you need my support.
Well, thank you so much, Rashid. I took notes for you, Randall, because I know that you're busy.
Thank you. I'm assuming somebody write this down. Write that down.
I took my notes, and that was very good information. Randall, congratulations on your success. Congratulations on getting it out tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight. Viewers, if you are interested in cookies with flavor, visit the website cookieswithflavor.com.
Cookies W flavor.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Flavor. Cookieswflavor.com.
Thank you all very much. You all have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Randall, before you go, somebody in the chat wanted to know if you ever just park your truck and have a stationary location like throughout the week. Can we bring Randall back?
Not really. We used to do that. In these days and times, it's really hard to do.
Okay.
So we kind of shy away from that and still deal with private clientele and more cater to exactly what we do.
Okay.
But tell them I do appreciate it.
Our audience should just contact you directly on the website or through your email then if they want to book with you or get cookies.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Did you hear that, audience? So there's somebody asked that in the chat. Just reach out on the website or Randall's email at Cookies W Flavor. Okay.
Because everybody deserves a cookie. Everybody.
I agree.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks so very much.
Thank you so much, Randall.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our final guest this evening is Lady Allison Perkins Caldwell, and I will be calling her Lady Allison because she is a member of our Evergreen Park chapter of Top Ladies of Distinction, where she serves as the Top Teens of America co-advisor. Lady Allison is a thriving, and when I tell you thriving, I mean thriving, entrepreneur who is the CEO and founder of Allison's Infant and Toddler Centers, North, South, East, Hyde Park campuses, Little Feet, Big Dreams Learning Academy, University Child Care of Chicago, Baby Cakes Learning Academy also. She is also the owner of Edible Arrangements store number 887 in Cal Park, Illinois. And for our hometown viewer audience many of you have probably frequented her business there at Edible Arrangements. And she also owns store number 1673 in Gurnee, Illinois, and is the co-author of Southern City Cuisine. She is a graduate of Chicago State University with a bachelor's degree in nursing and a minor in psychology. She also has a master's degree in organizational leadership and early childhood education from the University of Illinois at Chicago and served for 8 years in our Army National Guard. Lady Allison serves on the CCRE Advisory Council, is a board member of the Imani Pearls Community Development Foundation, is a steering committee member of the CCAU, which is Child Care Advocates Unite, and she is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the Chi Omega Omega chapter, and is also a life member of the NAACP. Lady Allison has been married for 19 years to Gawain, and they have 4 children. Welcome to the show, Lady Allison.
Thank you for having me.
You are well, thank you. You are quite the entrepreneur here. And so I want to jump in so we have a chance to kind of talk about it all. First, I want to talk to you about the daycare centers. Tell me about those and how the pandemic really affected your operations and what pivoting looked like for you.
So I'll start just by talking about Allison's a little bit. We're a NACE accredited, gold rated program. We received the Governor's Award of Excellence for Family and Community Engagement. We've been in business for 18 years. We're located in Inglewood, Roseland, Park Manor, and Hyde Park, the Allison's location. Pivoting in the pandemic, wow. I think we were able to do so well because our systems were already in place. We already had a website, we already had an app. So we were able to lean on those tools. You know, I was able to get information out to my parents as well as the community because we already had a mode of communication. We went virtual with the children. When the governor ordered everyone to stay home, we started doing virtual play dates every day with our children. We called our parents every week. We went grocery shopping for them. We dropped food off to the houses. You know, we stayed in contact with our families. And when we opened back up, it was slow, but people, you know, they start coming right on back. I actually opened 2 centers during the pandemic. I opened Baby Cakes. I was in the process of opening, and then the pandemic hit. I had to go forward, right? I couldn't stop. There's no way but forward, onward. So we opened Baby Cakes in July, and then we also opened Little Feet, Big Dreams in December of 2020. So talk about pivoting and just it was really trying, but it happened. We did it, and we're still open, and we're thriving, and the children are coming in. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it definitely sounds like what Rashid was talking about in terms of value added and filling a need in the community. You already had the system in place. And so it was just figuring out what your people needed and being able to deliver that for them. Now, I know Edible Arrangements, they did some pivoting too. So tell me a little bit about that and what happened there.
Yeah, the franchisor did an amazing job of being responsive to the community, just the needs of the people. So of course, you know, Edible Arrangements is a fruit, fruit-based company, but we have so many products, not just fruit. And during the pandemic, that just exploded. We started delivering vegetables, fresh box of vegetables, and people really took advantage of that because, you know, you want to cook something and you need some potatoes or you need some onions, you need some carrots. Edible Arrangements, they were able to just drop you off a really inexpensive vegetable box. And again, it's because we are a web-based company. You know, we do have brick and mortar locations, but you know, you can order on a website, and it was just so convenient for people to go in and click. We also added some other items: popcorn, cheesecake, candy. Of course, we have smoothies. So we're doing really, really great things at Edible Arrangements.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to say this. I'm glad that I didn't know that I could order cheesecake from Edible Arrangements during the pandemic, because that might have been an extra 50 pounds for me.
And I am not competing with Rando, definitely cookies with flavor, but we have some amazing cookies at Edible Arrangements.
So I'm pretty sure there's enough people watching where they can do both. They can support all our businesses today. I know you and your cousin, you co-authored a cookbook, which is Southern City Cuisine. Show us your book. There you go.
Yay!
For the people, Southern City Cuisine. And now, but it's my understanding that the whole cookbook itself was a pivot. So tell us how that came about.
So my cousin and I, we spent a lot of time together, you know, all the time. And during the pandemic, it was no different. It was even better, you know, and we cooked every day, you know, and then we just decided to compile this recipe book. And then we decided, okay, well, we're going to make our gumbo and we're going to sell our gumbo. Well, we started looking for a co-packer, but during the pandemic, it was very, very challenging to find a co-packer. So we focused on the book and we focused on merchandising. So we focused on t-shirts. We got really cute t-shirts, and then the cookbook. And I just love it. Someone just posted yesterday that they made the gumbo. It was absolutely delicious. And I got 8 orders for books.
That's awesome. Just from their post?
From her Facebook post, yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So there's some advertising going on there just from people buying the book. But I know that you've done some amazing pivoting during this pandemic. You mentioned your gumbo line. We're going to bring back Rashid, and maybe he has some advice that might be helpful there in terms of the packing and the distribution and things like that. So what are your questions for him tonight?
So Rashid, I have a couple questions. My first one is I want to obtain a military contract and get a couple of my food items converted to MREs, meals ready to eat. And then I would also like to provide my gumbo and things for mess halls and all branches of service. Do you have any advice on how I could do that?
Well, you know what? I'm hesitant to offer you advice because given your portfolio, we all need to be listening to you. Okay. But with that being said, I'll try to do my part here. And the most encouraging thing that you imparted this evening was something that Moretta restated was that you have systems in place, right? And one of the things that we target for our small businesses in the 10KSB program is to make certain that their business becomes a series of systems and processes, right? Instead of just being the entrepreneur doing all the things, right? So you've already kind of graduated to that point. There are over 30 million businesses in America, and less than 2% of them have more than 4 employees, right? So you're already operating in very rarefied air in terms of your capacity to be able to take on various projects. But with that in mind, the thing that I would say to you in terms of being able to take advantage of this opportunity is to continue to expand your network, right? If you look at military procurement, typically it's really a situation where you can, of course, just apply for a particular opportunity for providing MREs or just being a vendor. But again, there's a lot of businesses that's going to do that, right? What you want to be able to do is you want to be able to build contacts, and through your networks, the ones you currently have and the ones that you probably need to bring into the fold, you want to be able to build relationships with folks that are going to allow you to be more efficient in how you dedicate time towards connecting with the right people that will allow you a faster track into the spaces you want to operate. And so again, tap into the network you currently have. I would imagine if I looked at your Rolodex, it'd absolutely be mind-blowing, right? And so tap into that network, figure out how you can leverage relationships you currently have to find out, again, to have ambassadors in the field helping you find out about how you can get that opportunity with the government. Again, there's various branches of the government, as you know. Thank you for your service. But what you want to be able to do is figure out exactly what opportunities, specific opportunities exist for you through your current networks. The other thing you want to do is you want to go to other organizations that can also, help you get that information. So Bunker Labs is a good organization. Nowbo, right, is a good organization for women entrepreneurs. They have a lot of good resources, a lot of good intel about how you could take advantage of opportunities with the military. You also want to make certain that you think about things, again, from a process-oriented perspective. So before you even, have a conversation with the ideal person in your network that can unlock the keys to an opportunity for you, you want to be prepared by understanding what the registration process looks like, how to make a pitch or how to present your opportunity to that key individual that you'll be talking to at some point in the future. And then you also want to know what are some of the standards that the particular branch of the military that you might want to engage with have for vendors who want to do business with them. What does that look like already, right? You want to be shoring up all of those factors before you even get to the person to persons that will unlock that relationship for you. And so again, there's not really any quick, easy, fast answer, right? But we know that there are opportunities with the Department of Defense. There are opportunity with the National Guard across several states. There are opportunities out there to do the type of thing that you want to do. But I think it's really important from a process-driven perspective that you tap into your network and you be very strategic in how you prepare to engage with individuals who can unlock that potential for your business. And I think once you start doing that, you're closer than you probably surmise, right? I don't think the opportunity is as far away as you might consider it to be at the current moment. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. And then one other question. I'm beginning the certification process. And when I approach companies, I want to know, should I mention my almost 20 years of business experience, or should I just focus on my new venture so that I'm consistent with my product?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it's a bifurcated sort of process, right? Where you definitely want to, in the instances where it matters the most, right? If you're talking to folks in the networking situation that I just talked about before, and you're very specifically drilling down into wanting to develop a relationship around the specific opportunity, then you want to address it from that perspective, right? You want to talk about that particular business and not necessarily get into the wide array of business interests you have. But ultimately, the thing that's going to come up, the thing that's going to be the primary selling point for you is the brand that is you, is the fact that you have a transformational impact on business, on the marketplace, right? You know how to operate business. You know how to do it efficiently, successfully. And something that Moretta and you were talking about really resonated with me. One of the things that people don't know is that if you look at business owners over time, right? If you look at them during recessions and expansions, a lot of people think that businesses ebb and flow with the current economic conditions, but it's not true. Business owners succeed based on the capacity of the business owner to be excellent and steward their business successfully, right? If you can demonstrate that, if you can talk to whoever it is that you want to make your appeal to, right? If you can tell them your story and about how dynamic you are, trust me, that'll open up more possibilities and more opportunities than you can possibly imagine. So I think the beginning is just now happening for you. I think there's a world of opportunity out there waiting for you, but it is just a matter of expanding that network and meeting those key individuals that are really going to unlock the next level of potential for you and the businesses that you serve. And let me also say this, one other thing, there's an exercise we do in the 10KSV program where we have business owners like yourself, we have them list their current network and we have them think about if they're optimally leveraging them. And if they're not, then what is the next action step they're going to take to really leverage those individuals? And then we ask them, in addition to that, to figure out who do you want to be in your network? Who do you need in your network to help you reach your growth potential, right? And then figuring out how do you go about the task of bringing that person into your network and then leveraging that relationship. That's the thing that you should be focusing on, from my humble opinion, okay? Because all the other ingredients for success and dynamism are already there.
Thank you. Lady Moretta, I want to know, do I have time to pitch Rashid?
I can give you a minute. You give me your elevator pitch.
Okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Ready?
Keep in mind you're pitching the audience too now. So if it's confidential information, don't share that part, okay? But I can give you an elevator pitch. Go ahead.
Okay. Here we go. Imagine your mother-in-law comes to your home unannounced. She walks in and says, "I'm hungry." You pull out a freezer-ready Southern City cuisine gumbo and pop it in the microwave. You quickly boil some minute rice and serve it with the gumbo. Oh, she's smiling now. She's thinking it was so flavorful and meaty. The lobster, shrimp, scallops, chicken, and sausage were delicious. Now she's thinking, what a gumbo. I am Allison Caldwell, a Louisiana girl, and this is Southern City Cuisine, the gumbo remix. And the next year, okay, so I can't say that part because that is confidential. All right.
That's awesome. I'm hungry, and I want. And you know, the thing you did that was really important is that whenever you're communicating with whoever it is you might be talking to, right, a part of your network or beyond, is you want to pique their interest so you can have the next layer of the conversation. And everything you did right there was you piqued the interest of the listener, right? So you can continue to have the conversation. That's exactly what you want to do. Kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. We're gonna send you on Shark Tank with that one. Well, thank you, Lady Allison, and that was excellent questions, excellent elevator pitch for your product there. For our audience, if you want to explore Lady Allison's platform, she already has done what Rashid has said and has her own platform, Allison Inspires. So you can visit www.allisoninspires.com, and her platform will link you to all of her businesses, the daycare centers, the edible arrangements, Southern City cuisines. And so, Lady Allison, from what I'm gathering, it sounds like, again, what he said, you're already further than you think you are. So whatever it is that you want to do, I believe that you can do it. I'm just going to put that out there. And that is closer than you know. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our show tonight. And tonight's look at the pandemic pivot, how to reimagine your business during a pandemic, has been very informative, very awesome, transformative. I hope that our audience has had their pen and paper out. Save this video, go back and view it when you get ready to do your homework later. For our business owners in the audience, again, we hope that you have picked up some information or some resource that will help you pivot your business and help you thrive as we enter this next phase of the pandemic, because we still are in a pandemic. Be sure to take our survey, leave your email, and enter the raffle for the free business consultation. And for those of you that are customers, we hope that tonight you saw, something that you were interested in, and you will go and visit our business owners on their platform, or you will seek out your favorite small business and continue to support them. We want to thank all of our guests tonight and congratulate each of them on successfully pivoting. And so tonight, Lady Karen, do you have any quick closing thoughts for us?
Just stay and remain diligent. Our best advice. I know it gets rough. It has been rough for several people, but stick with it. Don't give up and keep pushing, and things are turning around for us. So that's all, and thank you guys.
Thank you, Lady Karen. And Lady Allison, do you have any parting words for us this evening?
You know what? I am just going to say Mother's Day is May 9th. Don't wait till May 9th to get your edible arrangement, okay? Go to www.edible.com, type in store 887, and get it delivered on the 7th. This is the secret to edible arrangements, okay? Get it delivered a day or two earlier, okay? Don't wait till Mother's Day to come into the store and say, Allison, what do you have for me? Now, I will have something for you, but we want to get your mother her arrangement Friday or Saturday. Thursday is even better.
All right, Lady Allison, we're going to take you up on that. So get ready for Mother's Day, everybody. Thank you, Lady Allison, for being here. And Rashid, we want to thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge with our business owners tonight and with our audience. Any advice to business owners out there who may be listening? What parting words do you have for us?
Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity. Really dynamic people. Randall, Allison, and Karen are inspirations. And I think, if anything, what they should show the audience is that anything is possible if you put your mind to it, if you're creative and you're diligent and you're committed to a goal. And so the thing that I would say to anyone who is listening is make certain that you visualize you in the future, visualize future success, and then start the day planning for that success and making the right decisions that are going to lead you there. I guarantee if we went and asked the same question of your entrepreneur guests, they had that vision and they were able to bring it to fruition through commitment. And so, again, all things are possible if you only take the step to bringing it to fruition. And that's all I'll say. Other than that, you guys are doing a great job. This is a great show. I'm just really happy and feel honored to be here.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you, our audience, again, for your support and encouragement. And as we mentioned on the top of the show, Rashid has generously offered a free business consultation for one lucky raffle taker for our survey. So make sure you fill out the survey. You do need your email address on there to enter for the raffle and be eligible. So make sure you leave us your email address, and that survey is pinned in the chat, okay?
And then we also like to thank the Status of Women and Health and Wellness Committee of the Will Diamond Black County Black Diamond chapter. Working the controls behind the scenes tonight, we have Lady Stacy Masker Young and Lady Dion A. Tate, and all the ladies working the chat. We also want to thank Joseph Smith II of Graymore Photography for all of his work on audio visuals. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, we want to invite you to join us for our next episode on May 24th. We're thinking of switching it up next time, so stay tuned for the topic. Can't wait to see what we're going to do, ladies. But we'll be right here on Facebook Live and on YouTube, so come back and see us on May 24th.
Yes, you never know what is going to happen on the Diamond View. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time,
keep shining.